Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to Europe.
Ooh, exciting!
Yeah, it should be fun. We're looking at some cutting-edge research on neurodegenerative diseases,
Okay,
especially Alzheimer's disease. And we've got a really interesting case study with a lot of clinical trial data,
sounds good.
some good insights into a new drug that's making waves
All right.
called GV-971.
GV-971. Yeah, I've heard a bit about this one.
Have you?
It's certainly causing a stir for good reason.
Yeah.
I think the number of people in Europe living with Alzheimer's is just
It's crazy.
it's staggering.
Yeah.
We're talking like 10 million people,
Wow.
including 500,000 in Poland alone
Gosh.
and nearly 1 million in Spain.
It really is widespread.
Yeah.
We really do need new solutions.
For sure.
But before we get into GV-971 specifically,
Yeah.
can you remind us what's actually happening in the brain
Oh, sure.
when someone has Alzheimer's?
So imagine this.
Yeah.
Your brain cells are trying to communicate,
Okay.
but they're like gummed up with these sticky proteins called beta amyloid plaques.
Right.
It's like trying to talk through like thick mud almost.
Oh, gosh.
At the same time, the internal structure of those cells is getting warped
Oh, wow.
by tangles of another protein called tau.
So it's kind of like a double whammy of damage.
It really is a double whammy.
Wow.
And to make matters even worse,
Okay.
there's inflammation going on in the brain,
Right.
which our research seems to suggest
Yeah.
is linked to something pretty surprising.
Really? What's that?
Gut health.
Gut health.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's where this GV-971 comes in.
It does play a role there.
Okay.
But before we get to that,
Yeah.
it's important to understand that Alzheimer's
Yeah.
kind of unfolds in stages.
Okay.
Early on, you might just forget appointments or names,
Right.
things like that.
Okay.
But as it progresses,
Hmm.
memory and language problems, those become more severe.
I see.
And sadly, in the advanced stages, people need help with even basic daily tasks.
It's a heartbreaking disease.
It really is.
And I know a lot of our listeners are personally affected by this,
Absolutely.
whether they're facing it themselves or maybe supporting loved ones.
Yes.
So let's talk about GV-971
Okay.
and the hope it's offering.
Sure.
I was really struck by a 2023 study
Okay.
at the Medical University of Warsaw.
In Poland.
Yeah. They gave GV-971 to patients with mild Alzheimer's
Right.
for 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
And they saw some pretty incredible results.
I've heard about this one. What's really exciting is that they saw a 22% improvement
Wow.
in short-term memory tests,
That's huge.
which, to put that into perspective,
Yeah,
you rarely see that kind of improvement
right.
with the existing drugs for Alzheimer's.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Could be a real game changer.
Yeah, 22% could be the difference between remembering a loved one's face
Right.
and feeling completely lost,
Absolutely.
feeling confused.
Yeah.
So it seems like this could have a huge impact,
Right.
and not just on Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Our research suggests that it might have potential
Yeah.
for other neurodegenerative diseases as well.
So it seems the research is spreading
Yeah.
to other areas. For example, Parkinson's disease
Okay.
affects hundreds of thousands of people in Europe alone
Wow.
with symptoms like tremors and stiff muscles.
Right.
And preclinical studies using animal models
Okay.
have shown that GV-971 was successful
Yeah.
in reducing brain inflammation,
So it's targeting that inflammation,
Yeah.
which seems to be,
a key driver.
yeah, a common thread in so many of these conditions.
It is.
And speaking of common threads, I was surprised to see
Oh, yeah.
multiple sclerosis
Yeah.
mentioned in our research as well.
Interesting.
That's an autoimmune disease, right?
You're right. It is.
So different from something like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's.
It is in a different category for sure.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is that Italian researchers
Okay.
are exploring how GV-971
Mm.
might help
Mhm.
to modulate or rebalance the immune response
In MS patients?
in MS patients. Exactly.
Okay.
And guess what?
Hey,
It seems to be doing this by acting on the gut.
hold on. The gut. You're telling me our gut health could be impacting something like MS?
The evidence is growing stronger all the time.
That's incredible.
This gut-brain connection,
Yeah.
it's like there's this two-way communication highway
Okay.
between our digestive system
Right.
and our central nervous system.
Okay. My mind is officially blown. But before we dive into the gut,
Okay.
there's one more condition I want to touch on
All right.
that's mentioned in our research.
Okay.
Post-stroke dementia.
Ah, yes. Post-stroke dementia, a very serious concern.
Yeah, about 30% of stroke survivors
Epla.
develop dementia within 5 years.
That's right.
That's a really scary statistic.
It is.
So what does GV-971 have to do with all this?
Well, researchers at Charles University in Prague
Okay.
found that GV-971 significantly reduced brain damage
Huh.
after a stroke in their studies,
Really?
like a 40% decrease in damage.
40%. That's amazing.
Yeah, suggesting that GV-971 could potentially protect the brain after a stroke.
So preventing that cascade of damage that leads to dementia.
Exactly. It's stepping in,
Wow.
shielding the brain from further harm.
It's pretty amazing.
And what's remarkable is that this protective effect
Yeah.
seems to come from its action on the gut microbiome.
Okay, so we keep coming back to the gut.
We do.
I have to admit, this is a bit mind-boggling for me.
I understand.
How can something happening in my stomach have such a huge impact
It is pretty amazing.
on my brain?
It is. It's a relatively new field of research.
Okay.
But what we're finding
Yeah.
is that the trillions of bacteria living in our gut,
Right.
known as the microbiome,
Uh-huh.
they're not just passively digesting food.
Oh, wow.
They're actively communicating with our brain,
Really?
influencing everything from mood and cognition.
The inflammation and immune function.
That's right.
So this GV-971 is basically hacking into this communication system.
In a way, yes. You could say that.
Wow, so how does it actually work? What's going on at a molecular level?
So let's break it down.
Okay.
First, GV-971. It goes after a particular bacteria
Okay.
called Bacteroides fragilis.
Bacteroides fragilis.
Got it. This bacteria produces a neurotoxin called LPS,
A neurotoxin.
which is known to trigger inflammation in the brain.
So it's like a bad guy in our gut.
You could say that.
Sending harmful messages.
Sending harmful messages.
Into brain.
Right. And a Polish study
Okay.
found that after 3 months of treatment with GV-971,
Uh-huh.
LPS levels dropped by 50%.
Wow. So it's like we're disarming the villain.
You could say that.
What happens next?
Well, GV-971 doesn't just stop at blocking the bad guys.
Okay.
It also stimulates the production
Uh-huh.
of short-chain fatty acids,
Oh, okay.
or SCFAs,
SCFAs.
which are beneficial compounds produced by our gut bacteria.
Got it. And what do these SCFAs do?
Think of them as tiny diplomats,
Okay.
carrying messages of peace and harmony.
All right, I like it.
They activate the vagus nerve,
Uh-huh.
which acts like a superhighway,
Okay.
connecting the gut and the brain.
And the message they carry is reduce inflammation.
That's it.
Reduce inflammation.
So it's a two-pronged approach.
It is.
Neutralize the harmful toxin,
Right.
and then send in the reinforcements
Yeah,
to
exactly.
calm things down.
Yep.
That's pretty clever.
That's a pretty impressive mechanism.
But how does it protect the brain cells themselves from damage?
That's the really remarkable part.
Uh.
GV-971 also appears to block microglia,
Okay.
which are inflammatory cells in the brain, from
Yeah.
attacking neurons.
So it's like setting up a protective barrier
Exactly.
around those brain cells.
That's right.
Wow, so it's like a triple threat.
It is.
Disarm the toxin,
Yep.
reduce inflammation,
Uh-huh.
and then shield the brain
That's right.
from further damage. This GV-971 is sounding more and more like a superhero.
It certainly has the potential.
It does.
Uh,
Of course, with any new drug, safety is paramount.
Absolutely.
So how does GV-971 stack up against other treatments
Okay.
in terms of side effects? That's a great question, and one we'll explore in just a moment.
Okay, stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with more on GV-971 and its impact on brain health. So we're back, and we were talking about the safety of GV-971.
Right.
You know, a lot of listeners are probably thinking about the existing Alzheimer's medications
Yeah,
and how those can have some pretty rough side effects.
that's true.
Like Dunpezil often causes a lot of gastrointestinal problems.
You get a lot of GI issues.
And lecanemab.
Yeah.
That's been linked to brain swelling in some patients.
Yeah, that's a serious one.
Yeah. So where does GV-971 fall on
Okay.
that spectrum of side effects?
The data so far suggests
Okay.
that GV-971 has a much milder side effect profile.
Okay. That's good.
The most common side effect seems to be nausea,
Okay.
which is reported in about 12% of patients.
So not a huge number.
Not a huge number,
Okay.
but it's generally pretty manageable.
And it doesn't seem to be severe enough
Right.
to cause people to stop taking the medication.
No, it doesn't seem so.
So easier on the stomach
Yeah, much easier on the stomach.
than some of the other options,
Mhm.
some of the other options out there.
Any other noteworthy side effects?
Not really.
Okay, that's good.
And here's an interesting stat that highlights that
Okay.
a study in Madrid
Uh-huh.
found that 0%, 0% of patients
Wow.
taking GV-971 discontinued treatment
That's incredible.
because of side effects.
That's compared to 15%.
15% for lecanemab.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It is.
So it sounds like it's much easier on the body.
Much easier.
But I'm always interested in the clinical data.
Yeah.
But I'm also interested in the actual patient experience.
Right.
Do we have any insights into
I do.
how patients are feeling when they take GV-971?
There's a heartwarming anecdote
Okay.
about an Italian woman named Maria.
Okay.
She's 68 years old,
Okay.
and she was struggling with Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
After 6 months on GV-971,
Yeah.
something amazing happened.
She was able to recognize her grandchildren again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been an incredible moment for her.
Yeah, a very emotional moment.
And her family.
Right. You can imagine the relief.
And the joy.
Yeah, the joy they felt.
It really does underscore how this could really improve people's lives.
It does. It's not just about slowing the decline.
Yeah.
It's about restoring those precious connections.
It's about quality of life.
Exactly. Quality of life.
It makes you wonder if GV-971 could be used.
You know, it's interesting you say that.
Even before symptoms appear.
Yeah.
As a way to prevent these diseases from taking hold.
It's a good thought. And there's growing evidence
Yeah.
that lifestyle factors,
Right.
including diet and our daily habits,
Mm-hmm.
really can have a big impact
Yeah.
on whether we develop these diseases or not.
So it's not just about taking a pill.
No, not at all.
It's about taking a holistic approach to brain health.
Absolutely. A
Yeah.
holistic approach.
What kind of lifestyle changes are we talking about?
Well, for Alzheimer's,
Uh-huh.
studies have shown that the Mediterranean diet
Okay.
can reduce the risk by about 30%.
I've heard about the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
It's all the rage these days.
Yeah, it's very popular.
But how does that tie in with GV-971?
Remember that Spanish study we talked about?
Yeah.
The one that combined GV-971 with the Mediterranean diet
Mm-hmm.
and virtual reality therapy?
Yeah.
They found that this combination led to a pretty impressive
Okay.
slowdown
Yeah.
in something called hippocampal atrophy.
Okay, so can you remind me, what is hippocampal atrophy?
Sure, the hippocampus,
Yeah.
it's this region of the brain
Okay.
that plays a key role in forming new memories
Okay.
as we age.
Uh-huh.
The hippocampus naturally shrinks a little bit,
Okay.
but in Alzheimer's disease,
Yeah.
this shrinkage happens way faster
And more dramatically.
and more dramatically.
Leading to those memory problems.
That's right. It's one of the hallmarks
Yeah.
of the disease.
So slowing down hippocampal atrophy
Yeah,
means preserving memory function for longer.
exactly.
That's really important.
It is. And the fascinating thing is that the combination of GV-971 and the Mediterranean diet
Yeah.
seems to be more effective than either one alone.
Wow. So they work together.
They do. It's like they're working together to support brain health from different angles.
It's not just about treating the symptoms. It's
Yeah.
about addressing the disease process.
The underlying process of the disease.
Yeah. So what about other conditions?
Sure.
Are there specific lifestyle things we can do for Parkinson's or MS?
For Parkinson's,
Yeah.
there's some evidence that drinking coffee
Really?
about 2 to 3 cups a day
Okay.
could lower the risk
Wow.
by as much as 25%.
Okay.
And Tai Chi,
Tai Chi. The ancient Chinese practice of slow-flowing movements
that's the one.
is often recommended to help improve balance and coordination.
Yeah, those are key things.
Tai Chi for Parkinson's.
Yeah,
It's a very gentle and enjoyable way
it is.
to manage those symptoms.
Right, and there's research in the Czech Republic combining GV-971 with physiotherapy.
Oh, interesting.
The early results are very promising.
Okay.
It seems that GV-971 might actually boost the benefits of physiotherapy.
Leading to greater improvements in motor function.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
again, a multifaceted approach,
Yeah.
combining medication with lifestyle changes and targeted therapy.
So we see this theme coming up again and again.
Absolutely.
What about MS? Any lifestyle tips for MS?
Omega-3 fatty acids, which are found in oily fish,
Right.
like salmon and tuna, have
Okay.
been shown to reduce the frequency of relapses.
Okay. So eating your fish
Right. Eat your fish.
can make a real difference.
It can.
Yeah.
And also stress management
Yeah. That's a big one.
is incredibly
For
important.
so many things.
Yeah, meditation,
Mindfulness.
mindfulness.
These can help regulate the immune system.
Right, that-
Reduce inflammation.
Those are key factors in MS.
Okay. But let's circle back
Okay.
to prevention.
Sure.
Is there anything going on with GV-971
There is.
in that arena?
There's this really groundbreaking program in Poland
Okay.
called the Healthy Microbiome Program.
The Healthy Microbiome Program.
Yeah.
And it's all about preventing Alzheimer's.
In people who are genetically predisposed
Genetically predisposed.
to the disease.
You mean people who have certain genes that
Yes,
make them more likely to develop it?
exactly. There's a gene called APOE4
Okay.
that increases your risk
Okay.
of Alzheimer's significantly.
So this program is targeting
It is.
those people who carry that gene
Right.
and giving them GV-971.
Along with a probiotic.
Oh, interesting. A probiotic
Go
called
there.
Lactobacillus rhamnosus.
Lactobacillus rhamnosus, that's the one.
So they're trying to modulate the gut microbiome
They are.
to prevent the disease from taking hold.
Even in people who are genetically vulnerable.
Even in people who are genetically vulnerable.
That's right.
Wow. That's really incredible.
And the early results are very encouraging.
What are they seeing?
After 12 months,
Uh-huh.
they saw a 50% reduction
50%.
in beta amyloid.
Wow.
Remember that sticky protein we talked about
Yeah.
in the cerebrospinal fluid?
Wow, 50%. That's huge.
It is a significant reduction.
What about their thinking?
They also showed a 25% improvement
25%.
in short-term memory tests.
Oh, wow. So these are really incredible results.
They are. It suggests that we might actually be able to prevent Alzheimer's
Wow.
and those who are at high risk.
That's truly groundbreaking.
It is.
But if GV-971 is showing these incredible results,
Yeah.
why isn't it more widely available?
That's a great question.
Yeah, why is it still limited to clinical trials and specific programs?
The reality is
Yeah.
that drug development
Yeah.
and approval,
It's a long process.
it's a long and complex process.
I imagine even if it does get approved,
Right.
access and affordability are going to be major hurdles.
You're absolutely right. These are critical issues that need to be addressed
Absolutely.
if we want these breakthroughs to be available to everyone.
It's a reminder that science and healthcare
Yes.
are very much intertwined
They are.
with these social and economic factors.
For sure.
So are there any resources for our listeners
There are.
who want to maybe learn more about GV-971
Yeah.
or even participate in these studies?
Absolutely. Our case study mentions a few specific centers
Okay.
involved in the research.
Okay.
For example, Charles University in Prague
Okay.
is actively recruiting for their Parkinson's study.
All right. Any other centers that our listeners might be able to get involved in?
Yes. It appears that the hospital clinic in Barcelona
Okay.
is offering a combined GV-971
Huh?
and VR therapy program
Wow.
for Alzheimer's patients.
That's incredible.
And for those seeking information,
Okay.
close to their home perhaps,
Yeah.
the Medical University of Warsaw is
Mhm.
offering free consultations
Wow.
for families of Alzheimer's patients.
So that's great. There are some amazing resources out there.
There are.
And speaking of resources,
Yeah.
I remember reading something in the case study about some specific recipes
Oh, yes.
that they were calling neuroprotective
The
recipes.
neuroprotective recipe.
Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Of course.
Yeah.
They highlighted two recipes in particular
Okay.
that are really good for brain health.
Okay.
One was a classic Italian minestrone soup,
Oh, that sounds good.
packed with chickpeas and spinach and turmeric.
Yeah. Delicious and nutritious.
Exactly.
The food can be both.
It can be both.
What's the other recipe?
A Spanish paella with turmeric,
Okay.
featuring rice and seafood and saffron.
Oh, very good for you.
Yes, all known for their anti-inflammatory properties.
Okay, I'm adding both of those to my meal plan.
They sound good.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into GV-971,
Okay.
what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the most important message
Yeah.
is that GV-971 really does represent a paradigm shift.
In how we approach these neurodegenerative diseases, it's
right.
not just about treating symptoms. It's about addressing the root causes,
The underlying causes.
particularly through that gut-brain connection.
The gut-brain connection, that's key.
We're starting to understand how our bodies are all interconnected.
Yes, we are.
And that's really exciting.
And GV-971 seems to be safe
Yeah.
and well tolerated.
Which is really important.
Which is huge.
But it's not a magic bullet.
No, it's not a magic bullet.
Lifestyle factors are still really important.
Absolutely. It's about taking that holistic approach,
Right.
incorporating brain-boosting foods,
Uh-huh.
managing stress,
Yeah.
finding ways to move our bodies that feel good.
Absolutely. And staying informed.
Staying informed is key.
Right.
Keep learning.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
So, dear listeners, how can you take all this information and apply it to your own life?
That's the question.
We're going to take a short break,
Okay.
gather our thoughts, and we'll be right back with some final reflections and a call to action. We've learned so much about GV-971 and this whole new world of neurodegenerative disease treatment.
Yeah.
It's really
I
exciting.
mean, we started talking about the staggering statistics in Europe,
Yeah,
and now we're talking about this promising research.
it's pretty amazing.
GV-971 is making waves.
It is.
But what's the bigger picture here?
What does this all mean for the future of brain health? Well, I think one of the most fascinating things about GV-971
Yeah.
is that it's not just treating symptoms,
Uh,
it's addressing the underlying causes of these diseases.
right, so it's a real paradigm shift
It is a paradigm shift.
in how we're approaching brain health.
Exactly. And I think it signifies a
Yeah.
move towards personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine.
Yeah, tailoring treatments to the individual.
Okay, so it's not about just finding one drug
Right, right.
that works for everyone.
No.
It's about understanding how our biology
Uh-huh.
and our lifestyle
And our lifestyle?
influence our health.
It all plays a role.
And then using that
Yeah.
to create a more personalized approach to treatment and to prevention.
Exactly.
And that means
Yeah.
empowering individuals
Okay.
to take control of their own well-being.
Right. So making those lifestyle changes.
Right.
Supporting our gut health.
Yeah,
Working with our healthcare providers.
absolutely.
To really create that personalized plan.
It's the future of healthcare.
And speaking of personalized plans,
Yeah.
remember that healthy microbiome program in Poland?
Oh, yes.
That's a great example.
They're using GV-971
They are.
to prevent Alzheimer's
Yeah.
in people who are predisposed.
It's incredible.
It's like a glimpse into the future
It is.
of preventative neurology.
Imagine being able to identify those at risk
Yeah.
and intervene early.
To prevent these diseases from developing.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be incredible.
It really would.
But it raises a question.
Oh, that.
If it's so promising,
Yeah.
why isn't it available everywhere?
That's a good question, and a lot of people are asking that.
Yeah.
The research is really encouraging. Uh-huh.
But we do need more
Okay.
large-scale, long-term studies
Okay.
to really confirm its safety and effectiveness
Right.
in different populations.
And even if it does get approved by all the regulatory agencies,
yes,
access and affordability
huge issues.
are going to be huge.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
a reminder that science and healthcare
Yeah.
are really intertwined with all these social and economic factors,
It's a complex landscape.
but one that's filled with a lot of hope.
It is.
Yeah.
And GV-971 is a real beacon of that hope,
It is.
showing us that we can fight back
Yeah.
against these devastating diseases.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into GV-971
Okay.
and the future of neurodegenerative disease treatment.
What's the final thought we want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah.
I think the key takeaway here
Yeah.
is this.
Uh-huh.
We are on the cusp
Okay.
of a revolution in brain health.
A revolution.
We're moving beyond simply managing symptoms
Yeah.
to actually preventing
Uh-huh.
and potentially reversing these conditions.
It's a really powerful message of hope
It is.
and empowerment.
It is. We're not passive bystanders.
We're not.
We have the power to take action.
And shape our brain health.
Our brain health destiny.
That's a great way to put it.
And who knows? Maybe one day we'll all be enjoying that minestrone soup,
I hope so.
celebrating a world free from Alzheimer's.
And Parkinson's and MS.
Exactly.
Here's to that.
Cheers to that.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.